2003 Honda Civic. I'm gonna do something I've never done on video before, and I'm reluctantly making this video with AC Pro. Really hate doing it, but I'm gonna do a few little procedures for the do-it-yourself. There is no reason, absolutely no reason at all, no professional shop should be using cans like this inside a shop. But I'm doing this just for the do-it-yourselfer, and as you see, I have a mirage of items here. Now, we're gonna make some pretending scenarios. Regularly, this got a new condenser in it, by the way. I made a video on it last week. Regularly, I never recommend using any kind of can with any other lubricant in it, no leak sealant, no nothing like that. But I just had to do this. This is kind of like an ideal situation, perfect where it could possibly work good. So I'm going to do it because I have to really explain why I'm picking this vehicle. This vehicle, maximum refrigerant quantity by weight, this is what's important, by weight is 550 grams. The minimum by weight is 500 grams. So even if I took all the liquid out of here, the little bit of vapor that would be left in here would not equal less than 500 grams because of the small volume and the short amount of hoses. Now let's say you have just refrigerant with no lubricant put in it. I want to get some dye in there. And you go, God, how am I? Now let's say you were able to borrow somebody's vacuum pump or the tool place that you got your stuff from, lends out tools. There are those companies that lend out tools. So let's say possibly you have a vacuum pump. You notice I'm not starting with a vehicle that has refrigerant in it. I'm starting with one I know is 100% empty, and I know for a fact that this container has 566 grams. So even I'm 16 grams over what the absolute maximum can be. So any of my losses of vapor in the can plus the hose or anything else would bring it to roughly the absolute maximum of 550. I'm not really worried about going over. I wish I could find one that would had 560 grams, 66 grams or something like that. So I do have this on the vacuum pump and I have it on the high side. Let's say I don't have money, I can't buy fancy expensive equipment, no specialty tools. Well, hopefully somehow you were able to dig up at least a low side fitting. Now either you could pour the dye in through an opening, like you would if you had a core removal tool, and you could take the core out and you could put it in there somehow. But let's say you have the vacuum pump and we want to suck up some of this oil and dye in the system. And I know I need more. This has 1 ounce of liquid oil in it and leak additive and stuff. That's 1 ounce, but that's only 1 ounce is 28.8 grams. Let's round it off to 30. Because I have a new condenser in here, I know I need at least 45 grams, so I'm a little bit short. So I'm adding some oil here, refrigerant dye, which is not a great concentrate, but at least it's something. This is not what I'd normally use. I have to make that clear. I would not use this crap. Sorry about saying this crap, but anything in plastic bottles I hate, and I'm going to show you tonight. So another vehicle that got a new compressor this morning, we were doing some experimentations. That's why I'm using this. I just opened this up about an hour ago and I closed it. Now whether it was halfway or not, I'm going to show you what happens to this stuff on the vacuum pump, why you don't get stuff in plastic, and why you don't get stuff once you open and expose the atmosphere. Even though you put the cap right on, that oil is now contaminated, highly contaminated with moisture, and I'll show you that in a vacuum chamber tonight. I don't know when I'll release the video. Same with this. I just opened it up, poured out a little bit, capped it right back up, and we're going to show you how much moisture is in this now. So let's if I could do this, I'm going to try to do this one-handed. I think this is going to suck and I'm going to make a mistake, and I might suck in air or something like that and do a mistake. So if I was just like a do-it-yourselfer and I was desperate, I would put a straw on here. That's what I'd recommend. And actually, yeah, I can't control that, so I'm gonna try to get, come on, let's go. Get something like that. This just sucks. I would hate to be, and there's actually shops that work like this. Actually, they don't even perform this much. They don't even try to keep the air out of your system. But I'm in an attempt to do a good half-assed job, as if I didn't know what I was doing. I'm gonna plan. So what I'm gonna do here is I want to get the air out of this hose. Don't want air in hoses. The last thing you want to do is suck in. I have a nicely evacuated system, so I'm going to shut off the high side. I got the vacuum pump on. You see that pop up? I just lost the vacuum because I'm vacuuming out this. I already vacuumed this down to like 200 microns or so, but I want to vacuum that down at least below 500. I hate to release this video just because I'm using this stuff, but this could be an ideal condition where you can use it, because you can't go over and you can't really go under. Okay, there we go. I now have this vacuated out, this vacuated out. This is open to that. I have it under vacuum, pulling vacuum here. I'm going to turn off this vacuum so nothing goes back in. You can see how low it goes. And now I'm going to turn the vacuum on back to the high side. I'm going to disconnect this. This is freaking taking so long. Jesus Christ, if you tried to do this right using this shit, it takes so freaking long. You'd go broke if you actually had a shop. Okay, I am only going to open up this one right here. Oh shit, it goes in the other direction. Oh, what a piece of crap. Forgot about that. And I only opened it partially. Dude, you people who work without tools in a real shop. Now, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, you got to do what you got to do. Now, I'm going to slowly open this one. Everything's on. I've sucked in no air. See how careful I am? And shut it off. Just to where I'm at the very back. I did not let it suck in air now. So, this and this are filled with a little bit of lubricant and oil. And there's a solid column of oil. You can see right there, no air got in. It's a solid column of oil. This is going to make a little bit of a mess, especially if I flip this over and it spills everywhere. I'd go bankrupt if I had to use this shit and try to do it right. Now, if I didn't care, I'd just let some air suck in there like everyone else does. Hook up a line with air in it and just purge it in there. So that gives that. But now I still have dye and lubricant trapped inside here. So what I didn't think through is I need an adapter fitting to fit on there. Because we're trying to really do this without getting air into the system. And I stress that 100 times. Do not get air into the system. It will work. There's no doubt about it. It will work. So for those guys who go, oh, I get air in the system all the time and it works. Yes, it does. I know that. And it's because of the guys who get air in the system all the time. The guys who have to come back and repair those systems later make money. For the guys who get all the air in the system and they go, but I don't see no problem. Yes, Superman, with your x-ray vision, you don't see no problem. So now I got that on there. So now I know I did not get any air in there. I'm still trying to think this out. Now we're going to grab our can of AC Pro. And again, I stress, if you're a real shop, you would never ever use one of these things. I'm embarrassed just having one in my presence. Hold on, I gotta put the phone down because I gotta break these little snap clappy things off here. Sorry guys. Now, this can of AC Pro, in their instructions, you take out this little red disc that's holding it up from actually puncturing. So let's loosen it up. Nope, it doesn't slide out. You actually have to take this off. So you know this hose and this head is filled with air. That's filled with moisture. You would not want that in your system. But let's take this little thing off. Okay, there we go. We took that off. Now let's screw this on there, because this is what AC Pro does. I'm doing this one-handed. So we now have a nice amount of air with moisture trapped in this head and in this hose. And it would normally just go right on the end of there and be sucked right into your system. If you had a partially charged system with no vacuum pump, you would be injecting air right into your system. How do you think my refrigerant identifier is always picking up air all the time? Okay, so now I have to attach it onto here, which again, I don't think I could do with one hand, but remember, there is no air inside these hoses, but we're gonna hook it onto here. There we go. We got that on there, really nice. So let's get rid of this. Now we know we're under a vacuum on the low side. Let me turn off the vacuum. Let's see what our steady vacuum is. Remember, I'm gonna pour these into clear containers, put them in a vacuum chamber, and let you see how much moisture is absorbed in this. Brand new. Just got this morning. Opened it up, put it on a job, capped it off immediately. Brand new. I just opened it up for this job, capped it off immediately. Brand new. Just opened it. And all three of these items, I'm going to show you how much moisture there's inside them when we get home. So we have all this air that's trapped in here. Now if you were topping off, you would have no vacuum pump, so you'd immediately depress this coupling here right into the system and pump all this air and moisture into your system. Not good, but you were going to try to avoid that because this is my customer. The poor people out there doing it for yourself might not have this feature right here, not have the capability to even provide to read deep vacuum. So we're in a deep vacuum right now. I have the vacuum pump tied off. I have the low side off. We're just going to read the high side. The high side is open. The high side is on into the system. It's under a complete vacuum and there's no more vacuum going on because I closed both of these off. So now let's depress and open up. Since I depressed it, it is thoroughly on there. This is completely sealed, supposedly. Sometimes they don't seal so well. When I open up this vacuum in the system is going to pull this oil and want to pull right up to here. But remember, we have moisture and air in here. So will we see something on here all the way on the other side of the system? It's all connected together. So let's open it up. 1, 2, 3. I just opened it. Let's see what we got. We're reading at this. So we're drawing vacuum, or actually a little bit of air into the system. Oh, we're also stabling out. Okay, now let me open up and pull some more. See where we go. There. Pulling back down. And it will take a while. So until I release this trigger, it won't be pumping any refrigerant into the system. I really don't want to introduce no air into my customer's car, because I really don't want to do this again. And we're getting back down there again. Let me get these off of here because these will fall off. Now, brand new receiver dryer, or actually the receiver dryer is built into the brand new condenser on there. And our instructions: Abro al capo y locato el puerto de servicio de bajo preciso de or whatever. Yeah, right. I'm butchering that. Let's go over to the other one. My kids could read that. Open the hood, find your low side pressure port, put on the gauge. With engine off, hood open, locate AC surface ports on the larger diameter tubing between the compressor and the evaporator, and that's what we have done. Tip: visit their website to find service ports if you can't locate them. Best results, car in the shade, while we're in the real world out here and we're in the sun. Keep all the doors and windows open while charging, front and back. Turn on the engine, turn on the AC on high, start the car. Set the fan to the highest setting, temperature to the coldest setting. Make sure the recirculation is on. They want it in recirculation mode. All right, so let's go into recirculation mode. Doors and windows. On. There. Highest setting, AC on. Passengers cold. Cold, highest setting, recirculation mode. There we go. Now take note, if this was a clutchless compressor system, which a lot of do-it-yourselfers don't know, you would be running the compressor. If you had a vacuum pump, and you're not supposed to do this, run clutchless compressors under a vacuum, because it pulls in on the lip seal and spins the shaft at the same time, compared to just an empty system that would have no pressure either forward or backwards, positive or negative. Of course, it can't open the other window, and it doesn't open from here, it doesn't open from there, and it's an old manual system. God, I forgot what manual locks were. And this door is not going to stay open because we're slightly on a hill, but the windows are open. Hey, it's real world. So now I want to toast one of my little wires here. And we got a good vacuum going on there on the high side, so I'm going to shut off the vacuum right now so we could read the high side perfectly. So now we're going to read the high pressure. We're under vacuum right now. But usually in real world, you don't have a high pressure gauge there. So let's go back to their instructions. We have the AC in recycle. We have it on its highest setting. We have it on its coldest setting. And we are in, and we have our fitting in. So read the pressure, and without pulling the trigger, look at the gauge. Well, we know it's going to be down because that's where it's at. That's 0. And so we know we need to keep going and filling. And I remember they also say, check this out. Remove the plastic spacer. I did this. Charge the system. Shake the can well. Screw in the gauge. The 12 o'clock, the 3 o'clock position, and you'll be shaking it in between. While charging, shake the can up and down, alternating. God, this is going to take a long time. I charge in like 30 seconds. This is a joke. Alternating between 12 and 3 o'clock. Every 10 to 15 second release trigger. After needle is stabilized, check pressure and readings. Now remember, I know I cannot overcharge because the maximum refrigerant mount And this, with the refrigerant that will be left in vapor form inside the can, because the can will get cold. As the can gets cold, the vapor will be more concentrated and heavier. So I'll actually have weighable amount of refrigerant left over in the can and the hose. So we'll do exactly what they say on here. Stop charging needle when needle is in the green. And actually, for this car, with the low side pressure, what it'll be, it should be pretty perfect with this can under these ambient conditions, perfectly evacuated, started out at 0, and it should work under this condition. I have no problems doing this because I know it's not possible for me to overcharge. Okay, let's go for a few seconds. 1001, 1000, hey, 1003, 1004, 1005, 2006, 1007, 1008, 1009, 1010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 1015. Okay, stop right there. Okay, I'm full. Let's go home. I just did 15 seconds. And hey, damn, dude. We're good to go. Oh, wait a minute. Is it running? My eyes. No, it's not running. Now I gotta figure out why the hell it's not running. Now I'm a do-it-yourselfer. I'm pretty sure I hit the button and I held it for 10 seconds like the camera had. Let's see. I have dual AC. I have high speed. Minimum there. I have it on minimum there. I did turn that on. Don't tell me. I hit the button and I didn't turn it on. I know I have enough pressure into there to turn it on. Let's just go to auto. Let's bypass everything. And sometimes putting it in defrost, because we now know there's some pressure. Oh, but how much pressure? Wait a minute. So here's one thing that could happen. I did 15 seconds, but we're below 42 or 44 PSI. Well, the low side pressure switch on here will only activate if you could get 42, 43, 44 PSI. But what the hell, what's going on here? I can't get this thing to go in. I have this open, I have that on. Have that on, we got pressure in there, that's down. Trying to get more in there. Ah, fucker, that came off. God damn it. Hold on. What the hell is up with this shit? Okay, I gotta try this again. Hold on. You hoopty piece of shit. I'm trying to do this with my... Let's see if I can put this under my neck. No, it'll turn off the video. Hold on, I gotta put it down again. You know what? Okay, I got it on there again. It popped off while shaking it. Let's do this again. One. Well, we got 70 PSI in there now, so it should be going. It's going. All right, but it popped off in the meantime. Hey, it's do-it-yourself stuff. It's not supposed to be perfect. All right, so let's go for another 15 seconds. Now remember, we don't see a high side. And there's no chance of me over pressurizing this. It was on a vacuum. I got no air in the system other than what was in this hose and gauge, and I put it on the vacuum pump again. So let's go for another 15 seconds. 1001, 2002, 1003, 1004, 2005. Yeah, I freaking developed another leak. God damn it, just a little bit out of connection. Okay, fucking shaking cans and bullying this bullshit. Okay, it's okay because it's for the good. Taking one for the guys. Okay, shake it up and down. All right, let's stop there and let it settle out. You know, I would hate to have to do this in the shop. I feel sorry. If any of you guys out there work in a shop and your bosses have you putting this shit working like this, I feel real sorry for you. And if any of you customers out there pay a shop real good money and they break out a can like this and they work on your car, I feel real sorry for you. Okay. Why do I still have 0? No way. Okay. Oh yeah, there is a way. It's running. That's 67 on the high side. I could feel the can getting cold, so I know it's going in. So let's do this another 15 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. Still 0. And you can't tell if it's going negative. Now, can you imagine if the seal in here, now this is what I've seen on customers' cans when they come in there. The seal doesn't hold under vacuum, or the seal in here doesn't hold under vacuum, and while it's running, it's in a negative vacuum, which you can't read because you don't have one of these. It literally fills the customer's system up with air. It's sucking it in. It could be -11. Now, I've showed you videos of these cars partially filled with only a few ounces running in negative vacuum, and a customer goes and throws one of these on and it leaks out their seal in here or their seal under here. Before pressing the trigger, there's a seal, and I've literally seen guys suck in air when they had it under a vacuum while they were trying to fill it up, or only put 2 or 3 ounces in, get the compressor on, it runs under a vacuum, and while they're in between their shots of 15 seconds, like I am right now, during that whole time it's leaking under vacuum, sucking air in the system. You've seen my videos with 20%, 10%, 30% plus air mixed in with the refrigerant. How do you think that happens? Okay, I'm giving you real life shit here. Okay, I'm going again. 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005, 1006, 2007, 2008, 2009, 2000. I'm 27 minutes into this freaking video, and can is freezing up. It's getting nice and icy cold. Okay, our pressure, high side pressure. Remember, you can't see in a high processor. In the world of do-it-yourself without a set of gauges, you can't see that. But it's not important for this one because I know I will not overcharge the system with this can, because the maximum weight of this can does not exceed the maximum weight that this car can take. Okay, so let's see where we're at. Let's not stay. I'm looking at this just because I want to. Oh, I know what else I want to do. Now this thing is about half full still. And I just wanted to see, oh, I lost contact with my goddamn Testo. You know, I don't have this freaking, it just stays on so long and it shuts off. I wanted to show you, no, yeah, it went off. Did it go off? And their lights really suck. Yeah, I can see it in the shade. That's another thing. The Testo, when you're out here in the sun, compared to how bright the lights are on the field piece, you can't see the lights. And I'm wearing protective glasses that have a yellow tint, so I can't even see because I'm wearing protective glasses like you should be. But when you wear the protective glasses, you can't see the Testo light. Okay, let's do a little more. This is getting really old. And remember, I don't do editing, and I leave all my mistakes in my videos. Well, I'm going to tell you something here. This can, and you can start seeing the can fog up. This can is about half full. $105, 141 at my discharge temperature coming out of the compressor. Get my sensor, make sure my sensor is on there. Yeah, I'm about there. So let's see what my dash is. Remember, I'm a do-it-yourself person, and I don't have any fancy equipment. We're pretending. I don't have that set of gauge set on there. Oh, I got, shoot. Hey, we're cooking, dude. We're done. That's it. I mean, if I went by duct dash temperature and how good it, you know, the guys who go beer can cold. Hey, man, this is beer can cold. Let me get a sensor on there. That's beer can cold. And get a sensor on that sucker, because we're pretending we're do-it-yourselfers. But if you're the do-it-yourselfer who went by dash temperature, just by your hand, you'd be stopping right now. But you would also be stopping with a system that's only half empty, because this sun that's hitting you is making you feel roasty toasty. And did we hook up? I got 49 degrees, 50 degrees, hovering right around there, coming out the dash with the windows open, and god damn it, my door shut. You know. And this just shut off. Turn it back on. And our temperature on our compressor went up to 147. And this is a mild day. We're just barely hitting, I think. Let's see what our temperature is here. I don't have my temperature thing on there. Yeah, nice. We're only 61 degrees. And at 147 coming out of our discharge temperature, but we're only half full. So let's finish this up the rest of the way. This takes a long, long time. Hey, there we go. Almost. Door back open again. Keeps wanting to fall. Come on, stay open. That's this in there. Stay open. That'll hold it. There we go. We're still going. I think this will probably be the longest video I've ever put up. Let me get some looter in, man, because my forearm's getting tired, man. Long John Silver here is having an issue. Get those massive forearms shaking cans. And I see a little leakage here. Yep, there's some oil coming down. Some of the goo, the gobbly goo is coming out of here. So if this is leaking under pressure, do you think that seal was leaking when it was under vacuum? Well, guess what we're going to do? See if what my refrigerant analyzer says later on. Now remember, this had a brand new condenser in it, so it needed lubricant put back into the system anyway. And a recovery was performed and a test. So you can see this is all frosted up. There's water all over it. I'd like to do this a second time with just the fitting on a system I didn't need to add lubricant to or dye or anything like that. Just add it to a system as a top off to see what happens, to do it that way. but I needed to add a little bit of lubricant and dye into the system, and I used products that the normal do-it-yourselfer could get off of a shelf. But I'm literally gonna freaking grow a beard, and my grandchild's gonna graduate college by the time I get this in the car. All right, hey, 30. Now, if we're gonna be conservative, you know, there's always those people who want it in the middle, so they'll keep on going. Then there's those people who go more is better, so they might want it at that 50 area at the end there. But let's see, I have about 4 ounces of refrigerant left in here. I have good splash. It feels like a handful of gravel in here, jostling back and forth. But AC Pro says I'm good, so I could stop right there. Now, remember, this is 516 grams. 550 is the maximum to go in there. So I'm stopping a little early, and I know with what I have in here, I don't even have its minimum of 500 grams in there. I'm a little bit low, but I know the dash would be putting out in our, see, as we're getting filled up with refrigerant, our discharge temperature, what is that clamp right off the compressor, is going back down. We're back down to 132 because I have superheat coming back to the compressor, a low superheat, which I cannot get right now because my low side line is not hooked up. I'm hooked up to that. My subcooling says only 3.9, or yeah, it's varying back and forth. Don't look at that. That's not important. Remember, we're do-it-yourselfers, and we don't have this advantage. We're only splooging in some refrigerant, and as I get more refrigerant in there, you should see this discharge temperature come in. This is how AC compressors burn up, when guys let them go low, or they only fill them up halfway and then go into a hot area, and this stuff is just leaking all over the place. And that's another thing I find out, lots of leaks. Well, I can tell you for a fact, if I tried to do this for a living, charging what I do here in the San Francisco Bay Area, even at my rate, if I did this in a shop, my profit margins would be so low, I'd nearly go bankrupt, and I'd have to pay my guys such a low wage because they're doing this circle jerks thing here, growing a hairy palm and going blind. And there are shops that do this shit. They literally put this stuff and they do work like this. And this is just dripping out of here. And where are we at? We're 47 degrees coming out of the dash, and we're 100. Look at our discharge line temperature. It's coming down some more, down to 129. Now remember, that's the temperature of the hot gas coming out of the compressor. That means your compressor is not overheating now. It's going down and down. If it was 105 degrees Arizona, and when I first filled it up and it only had part of the charge in there, instead of that 146 degrees, you probably see near 200 degrees, and you can even see more depending on the compressor. So I'm putting more in there, and I think I feel my phone going off. Somebody's calling me. Yes, hold on a minute. Let me, this phone number I gotta answer. Hey Don, I'm gonna come by your place and talk to you. So that was for a commercial job. I definitely could not miss that phone call. And I'm supposed to be there. I should be finished by now. And he's only up the block from me. But I decided to do this for you guys. As you can see, this stuff is squirting all over the place because this is such a great device. Yep, getting on this paint job. That's nice. Give me some hot air here. Jesus Christ. So what do we got now? 46 degrees out of the dash. Our compressor temperature has dropped down to 125. Now you remember, the lower you were on refrigerant charge, the higher the discharge temperature was coming out of the compressor. But weren't you taught about something about a TP chart, temperature pressure relations? Some of you guys might have heard YouTube professors talk about that pressure is related to temperature. But if I only had, say, 6 ounces out of the 16 ounces in the system, and I was at 146 psi, then wouldn't that mean at 146 degrees, you could go across the temperature PT chart, line it up, and it should have correlated with that, what, 118 psi on the chart? But it didn't, did it? Why? That's a question. That's for you guys who want to know more. When I was only partially full with only a few ounces, I had 146 degrees coming out of the line coming off the compressor, but the pressure was like way down there. Why? That's the question. Why? So you know where you could stick that PT chart, or that little pressure with the PT chart on it? You know where you can stick it, right? Alright, we are still at the 30 mark, and I just released another, I just about have it all in there, another 6 ounces in there, and the low side didn't change. It's still where it is. I don't think it's going to go no more. More of that stuff's leaking out. Now many times I've seen these systems and the customer says, but I rented a vacuum pump, I had gauges, and I pulled a vacuum and it still wouldn't run right, and they come to me and they would have 10%, 20%, 30% air in them, and they were doing it without all this. They were doing it just snapping this into this. Because what I've often found with these systems is that the O-ring valves in here, their little O-rings, their trigger, leaks under a deep vacuum. So the customer tries to do everything right with a vacuum pump, but as soon as they hook this up and snap it in there, it starts sucking in air before they start putting in refrigerant. But yet there's also air trapped in this, and they're just pushing refrigerant on top of air into the system. They're letting off after their 10 or 15 seconds. The system activates, goes down below a vacuum, puts a vacuum on air, and for those seconds that they're waiting, it starts leaking in and bypassing their little seals and sucks air into the system. And all those videos you've seen me release with many percent of air, where it was one of the customers who used these cans, it was because of that. That was many of the reasons why. So I'm done here, other than I'm gonna get my refrigerant identifier and see how much air I got in. There should be 0% air. I should pick up no measurable amount of air, like when I do the systems myself the correct way, not this parts store crap. But let me break off here, because this video is so damn long, probably nobody's gonna watch it. This will probably be one of my worst rated videos ever, because it's long. Who in the hell wants to watch this? But I'll post it anyway. And I'm gonna go get my refrigerant identifier and see what's coming out. And remember, the window's open, that door won't stay open, but look at the temperature of the compressor. Now that I know I'm full, because this thing is, there's no liquid in here, I got it out. It's not exceeded the maximum in the system. Our temperature of our compressor discharge, that's that orange right off the line, has dropped down to 120, 119. More refrigerant we put in, the cooler the compressor got. And we only put in what the manufacturer requires. And with our windows open, black car in the sun, under a sun load, is putting out 44 degrees out of the dash. This would be about the most ideal situation for one of these cans that it needed a little extra lubricant because it just got a brand new condenser, but it has to be the right amount. And the right amount from the factory from a lot of cars is 40 or 45 milliliters or cc's or you know, of refrigerant oil. This only has 28 because I think I remember reading on here it has 1 ounce of a lubricant in there, and 1 ounce is not quite enough for a brand new replacement of a system when you're putting on a new condenser. It's a little shy. So now that we know we have cold, I'm gonna shut and kill this video off here because nobody's ever gonna want to watch it to the end because it's 45 minutes and I don't edit. And I leave all my mistakes and anything I say wrong in there, but I want to show you live results. I hope there was some knowledge passed on about the temperature of the compressor going down as the refrigerant level went up towards the factory fill, and it gets even worse in hot weather when somebody's trying to run the AC on, like, say only 1/4 the charge or 1/2 the charge. It does more damage to your compressor, which sometimes you're lucky and sometimes you're not. It's a gamble. All right, next video.